Oh, yeah, Michael.
I thought it was.
Yeah. We're on our way to date night.
I can talk louder if need be.
No, we got you, Dennis. You're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Testing, testing.
You guys get me on? You guys get me? Oh, perfect.
This is mine. Okay.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order. August 16th, 2024. Special meeting to finish what we had planned for Monday. So let's start with roll call 1.1.
Carrie Fearing, present.
Dennis Geik, present.
Richard Cardone, present. Okay, let's move to 1.2, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, 1.3, citizens present, please sign in. Let's move on to 1.4, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's move to new business 2.1. And let's first start with Dr. Richard. How did we get here?
Mr. President, members of the board, the district administration was made aware of some procurement concerns towards the end at the end of the school year. Based on what we were told, I asked Mr. Dell to investigate some of the procurement issues that were brought to our attention. The employee that we were investigating did not cooperate with our investigation. So we are here now. The employee has offered a resignation. There's also a statement of charges, and the board will have to decide which direction to take.
Well, just describe for us the statement of charges. What are the depth of what transpired here?
So I do have the statement of charges, which is also an agenda attachment. Would you like me to summarize them?
Yes, if you don't mind.
I'll just read them into the record. While employed as a certified teacher by the district, employee engaged in acts that constitute one or more of the following: unprofessional conduct, failure to fulfill job responsibilities with integrity, conduct in violation of conflict of interest policies, conduct in violation of procurement policies, conduct in violation of employee code of conduct, conduct in violation of governing board policies, rules, regulations, and state and federal law, and conduct in violation of employees' employment contract. Specific charges of unprofessional conduct. Mr. Burgess has been employed with the district in various positions since November 2014. Employee was employed with the district as a teacher on assignment for the 2023-2024 school year. A copy of his certified contract is attached as Exhibit A. Employee's employment contract states that he agrees to perform the duties described in the job description and such other duties as may be assigned. See Exhibit A at 1. Employee's employment contract further states that he shall comply with all district policies, regulations, and rules as are in effect or may be supplemented, revised, or amended by district during the term of this contract. Employee signed his contract on March 7th, 2023. See Exhibit A. Employee signed his 2024-25 contract on May 7th, 2024. Exhibit B. The specific instances of behavior and acts constituting the charges against employee include, but are not limited to the following. At the direction of the superintendent, on or around June 14th, 2024, Samuel Dell, Director of Finance, began investigating possible procurement, inventory, and/or conflict of interest issues by employee. Mr. Dell completed the investigation on June 26, 2024. During the investigation, Mr. Dell found employee engaged in a pattern of scheme and artifice to avoid rules, protocol, and the authority of others. See Exhibit C at 1. The following behaviors and acts were discovered during the investigation. 1. Mojave Youth Development. On June 12, 2023, employee completed and signed an auxiliary operations requisition form for the purpose of a water bottle filling station from the company Mojave Youth Development, MYD. See Exhibit C at 48. The request was approved and purchase order 40012 was created for MYD in the amount of $685.12. Exhibit C at 44 and 45. MYD submitted an invoice dated on July 19th, 2023 with the following business address: 1494 Arcadia Boulevard, Bullhead City, Arizona 86442, MYD address. See Exhibit C at 52. A check was issued on July 19th, 2023 in the amount of $680.12 paid to the order of MYD at the MYD address. See Exhibit C at 53. On August 1st, 2023, employee emailed a district CTE coordinator about the district purchasing a game-ready therapy device from him. The CTE coordinator spoke with Mr. Dell about the possible acquisition, who confirmed it would be a conflict of interest. Employee was notified of the same. See Exhibit C at 68. On August 14th, 2023, employee completed and signed an auxiliary operations requisition form for the purchase of 2 game-ready therapy devices from MYD. See Exhibit C at 73. The request was approved and purchase order 434 was created for MYD in the amount of $3,000. Exhibit C at 70 and 71. MYD submitted an invoice dated August 20, 2023 with payment to be made to MYD at the MYD address. See Exhibit C at 77. A check was issued on August 28, 2023 in the amount of $3,128.26 paid to the order of MYD at the MYD address. See Exhibit C at 78. MYD is registered with the Arizona Corporation Commission, ACC, as a domestic nonprofit corporation. See Exhibit D, ACC Entity Search. Its president is listed as Corey Lee Burgess, and its director is listed as Kelly Scott Burgess. See Exhibit D. The address listed on the ACC website for MYD is the MYD address. The Mojave County Assessor's Office lists Burgess Corey L. and Andrea CPWRS as the owners of the MYD address. See Exhibit E, Mojave County Assessor Property Information. Employee did not file a conflict of interest form disclosing his ownership interest in MYD. District personnel did not become aware of the conflict of interest until sometime after August 28, 2023. Does the board have any questions about the first specific charge?
No.
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 Item 2, concessions. In or around August 2023, without approval from the district's governing board or its administration, employee began operating concession stands at the field house and Mojave High School. During MHS athletic games at either venue, the public's understanding was that the proceeds were being used to support Mojave High School extracurricular activities. See Exhibit C at 4. Mojave High School does not have a booster club and therefore does not have a mechanism in place to accept card transactions for its concessions. Employee utilized a personally owned Square machine to accept credit or debit cards for concessions at both locations. See Exhibit C at 154. The proceeds were deposited directly into one of two external bank accounts, one of which was an MYD account, signed by employee. MYD wrote checks purporting to be the proceeds to the wrestling SAA account. See Exhibit C at 166. The monies deposited into the wrestling account did not have any reconciliation attached and were reported as a donation from MYD. See Exhibit C at 154. Board Policy 3-102 regarding revenue states, the governing board may establish bank accounts as permitted by statute in the Uniform System of Financial Records. All other funds shall be deposited directly with the county treasurer or deposited into designated trust accounts as permitted by law. Monies received from any source shall be accounted for and deposited as permitted by state law and the USFR. Staff shall follow all applicable requirements for the proper collection, supervision, disbursement, record keeping, and/or remittance of any funds received. See Exhibit F. The investigator found that with no reconciliation offered from any of the bank accounts in question and no testimony from the subject, the likelihood of theft in this instance must be considered high. The only authority for a school district in Arizona to create or utilize a bank account lies with the Board of Directors. See Exhibit C at 4. Does the board have any questions about item 2?
No.
No.
Item 3, employee as vendor. On April 10th, 2024, employee completed and signed an auxiliary operations requisition form with employee listed as the vendor to reimburse for spirit games next year and teacher giveaways for the end of the year in an amount not to exceed $6,000. See Exhibit C at 91. Employee did not receive approval to purchase the items prior to requesting reimbursement. The after-the-fact request was approved and purchase order 40103 was created, Exhibit C at 89. A check was issued on May 1st, 2024 for $5,844 to employee, Exhibit C at 95. During the investigation, employee TJ provided the following information regarding the matter. Quote, items were purchased by employee and put on his credit card, and every day afterwards, I was asked if I was going to cut a check to reimburse him because he had almost $6,000 sitting on his credit card that needed to be paid. The check was cut on 5/1/24 after much pressure to do so. Not all items have been received at this time. I created invoice number AUX 5124 and invoice 42577398013 while under pressure from employee. I created the invoice to reimburse him before the items were received. After giving employee many opportunities to sign the OK to pay on this date 6/17/24, it still remains unsigned. See Exhibit C at 87. Employee delivered the remaining items on June 25th, 2024, the day after he was interviewed during the investigation. Employee completed a customer info sheet with the company Sideline Interactive, committing the district to purchase a scorer's table valued at $15,100. Employee did not submit a requisition form for the item, and no purchase order was created. However, on February 14th, 2024, at the request of employee, Sideline Interactive delivered the scorer's table to Mojave High School. See Exhibit C at 3. See also Exhibit C at 108, email from Sideline Interactive Sales Director regarding employees' communications with him regarding the purchase. The scorer's table is in storage, and district administration is in the process of returning the unapproved purchase. Does the board have any questions about item 3?
No.
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 Item 4, employee as intermediary. A governing board approved contract was proposed to Rocky Mountain National Events for an event scheduled for May 3rd and 4th, 2024, with a fee structure of $20,100. See Exhibit C at 181 and 186. Employee directed the field house staff to present a modified contract with a pricing structure of $9,000. See Exhibit C at 187-192. The modified contract was not submitted to the governing board for approval. The district did not receive payment prior to the event. On May 7, 2024, employees submitted a donation from Rocky Mountain National Events into the MHS wrestling account for $15,150. The deposit did not include any reconciliation. During the investigation, the investigator found that with no reconciliation available for this event from the Fieldhouse staff and no testimony from the subject regarding the massive discrepancy, the likelihood of theft and malfeasance in this instance must be considered high. See Exhibit C at 4. The investigator found further concerns regarding the transfer of funds from the MHS wrestling account to the MHS girls soccer team account, which were then used for a trip to Italy. Discrepancies with coaching, stipend payments, uniform return processes, and fundraisers. See Exhibit C at 5. Does the board have any questions about item 4?
No.
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 Item 5, employees' actions during the investigation. The investigator scheduled a meeting with the employee on June 21, 2024 to provide him an opportunity to respond to the allegations. Employee declined the meeting invitation. The investigator proposed a new date, June 24, 2024, which employee also declined. See Exhibit C at 1. On June 24, 2024, Mr. Burgess presented an offer of resignation to Mr. Dorn Wilcox. On the same day, he entered Mojave High School, where he confronted and attempted to intimidate TJ, a key witness in the investigation. See Exhibit C at 1-2. When administration became aware of his location, employee was escorted away from the witness and agreed to meet with the administration regarding the investigation. Employee confirmed he was aware of audit requirements, USFR requirements, conflict of interest requirements, and how to file a conflict of interest form. Employee admitted he had a connection with vendor Mojave Youth Development. Employee became evasive and failed to be forthcoming when asked further about Mojave Youth Development. Exhibit C at 2. As discussed above, on June 25, 2024, employee delivered a box of items identified in the investigation as missing from purchase order 40103. Additionally, employee signed his 2024-25 contract on May 7, 2024, see Exhibit B. However, he also accepted a teaching position at another district in the state of Arizona for the 24-25 school year. Employee engaged in unprofessional conduct and failed to complete his job duties with integrity and responsibility, failed to avoid conflict of interests, failed to account for all funds collected from pupils, parents, or school personnel, failed to comply with district policies and procedures, and failed to comply with applicable federal and state laws, regulations, and rules. Employee's conduct was self-serving, unprofessional, and a breach of his employment contract with ethical obligations as a certified educator in Arizona. Summary. Employees' aforementioned conduct together or in isolation warrants dismissal for unprofessionalism. His conduct constitutes a dereliction of his job duties and violates the following governing board policies and his employment contract. Policy 3-102 regarding accepting funds, which requires that the governing board may establish bank accounts. All other funds shall be deposited directly with the county treasurer or deposited into designated trust accounts as permitted by law. Monies received from any source shall be accounted for and deposited as permitted by state law and the USFR. Staff shall follow all applicable requirements for the proper collection, supervision, disbursement, record keeping, and or remittance of any funds received. Exhibit F. Procedure 3-102A regarding accounting of revenue, which requires staff to follow all requirements with respect to the proper collection, supervision, disbursement, recording keeping, and or remittance of any funds received as established in the uniform system of financial records. Any staff with responsibility for handling cash accounts or depositing funds shall adhere to all security control requirements established by the district. Exhibit F. Policy 3-109 regarding conflicts of interest, which requires, in connection with the district purchase of goods, services, or construction, board members and district employees shall annually disclose conflict of interest as required by state and federal law. Board members and district staff shall file any disclosure of any conflict of interest. Exhibit F. Policy 3-109 regarding conflicts of interest, which require that if a board member or district employee or their relatives have a conflict of interest in any procurement or services, equipment, or construction, the board member or district employee shall refrain from participating in any way in the procurement, including but not limited to making recommendations, giving advice, or communicating with anyone involved in the procurement process, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, Employee Code of Conduct, which requires staff to create and maintain appropriate relationships with students, staff, parents, and community members that are founded on trust and respect, act with the goal of furthering the growth and welfare of students as their primary objective, complete job duties with integrity and responsibility, and provide honest, accurate, and timely information to supervisors and administrators, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, Employee Code of Conduct, which requires staff to avoid conflicts of interest and acceptance of gifts in violation of procurement responsibilities, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, Employee Code of Conduct, which requires staff to account for all funds collected from pupils, parents, or school personnel, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, Employee Code of Conduct, which requires staff to comply with applicable district policies, procedures, and lawful directives and comply with applicable federal and state laws, regulations, and rules, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, Employee Code of Conduct, which prohibits employees from threatening and intimidating any individual by word or conduct, Exhibit F. Policy 4-201, employee's contract, which requires employee to comply with all district policies, regulations, and rules as are in effect or may be supplemented, revised, or amended by district during the term of this contract. See Exhibit A at 1. Employee's 2024-25 contract, which states pursuant to ARS 15-45, if employee resigns without advance district approval, the resignation will be deemed to be an unprofessional act that may subject employee to disciplinary action by the State Board of Education up to and including suspension or revocation of the teaching certificate. See Exhibits B at 2. The above acts relate to employees' fitness as a certified teacher and have had an adverse effect on students and others within the school community. Employees' actions are unacceptable and fall beneath the district's expectations for its certificated staff. His actions discredit the teaching profession and constitute unprofessional conduct as defined by the Arizona State Board of Education, CAACR 7-2-1301B15, Exhibit G. Mr. Burgess's unprofessional conduct warrants termination. Each and any of the above charges constitute sufficient grounds to dismiss Mr. Burgess. Respectfully submitted on this day.
Well, thank you very much.
I just have a question. Why did we not have an independent investigation? Why did we handle this in-house?
Well, we did send it, to my knowledge, to the Arizona Attorney General and the County Prosecutor for them to look into it, because at that time, at that one board meeting, we felt that that would be the next step to let the
Right.
Justice Department, rather than just hire someone else to look into it. So that did
'Cause
happen to my knowledge.
My
right?
concern is in the past, which we've had a couple of these during my time, we've always had an independent investigation done so that it keeps us out of the liability limelight. And I feel like some of these charges would warrant maybe an independent investigation like we've done in past. So I'm just wondering why we didn't maybe consider.
So that's a good question. It really depends on the scenario. We've had, unfortunately, 3 instances regarding similar issues with related to fundraising. The first one I'm aware of, major one, we did choose to have an independent investigator. Another one that occurred last year, we handled it in-house, and this one we handled in-house. Main reason being cost, and as you know, the board did do away with our prepaid legal services, so it would be pretty expensive. So it is an administrative function of the superintendent's office to investigate employees.
Now, you did send, I remember at a prior board meeting, we directed the administration to send this to the Attorney General. That was done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it was sent to the county prosecutor, right?
Yeah, we filed a police report with Bullhead City.
Okay. And the Department of Education,
We have not done a report yet to the Department of Education. Our attorney said that that's something that she could help us with, as she has experience with that.
okay.
But our attorney has reviewed these statement of charges.
She wrote them.
Oh, she wrote them.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
did kind of have an
Okay.
independent kind of person look at it.
Here, I thought you did that, Sam.
No. The attorney wrote all
Okay.
that. Now, let me ask you something. He signed a contract in May, and he's still receiving benefits to this day. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, he is still being compensated today.
Okay. Now, if you are under contract, I'm not familiar exactly how this works with teachers, and this is kind of a gray zone. Probably not many people understand it, but I certainly don't. If you sign a contract and you sign it in May, I assume it goes for a year, you have to if you resign, the board would have to accept that resignation to terminate and finish that contract. Is that correct?
That is my understanding. However, it is a gray area, as I'm not sure if that precludes you from also working in another district at the same time.
I see. Well, what has me concerned is the resignation during the investigation. That does not look good. So it's hard to say what to do. I would say, my standpoint, I think we have to report this to the Department of, the State Board of Education, if that's the licensing body that licensed him. So wherever the licensing agency or governing body that license teachers, I think that they have to know this. And if someone, please don't interrupt. There's no call to public here. If someone is taking a paycheck from us while they're under the auspice of being at home under an investigation, but still gainfully employed with another district, I find that somewhat, not what you should do. So I don't know how the Department of Education feels about that, but quite frankly, that may be an act of unprofessional conduct. I don't know if it is, it may be, may not be, but if we're under contract with that person for a year and we've not accepted the resignation, then, and you've gone to work for some...
I'm sorry. Can you guys just, it's so distracting
please.
listening to your whispering and what's happening over here. So while we're in an open meeting, if you could just tone it down.
Yeah, please
I
don't do
can
that.
literally hear you over here.
Yeah, please don't talk anymore. We'll have to ask you to leave. We don't want to do that. We know it's emotionally kind of charged topic, so we're trying to be respectful. But please, just keep quiet so we can get done this and move on. Is it something wrong? Okay, well please.
Well, I can hear you whispering,
Okay.
so do it quieter.
Okay, please keep quiet. Okay, like I said, if somebody is under contract with us, we haven't accepted their resignation, and we're paying them under the auspice of being on home assignment while we're doing the investigation. If they're taking money from us and working somewhere else, that to me just doesn't seem to be acceptable. I mean, taxpayers are paying double the amount. Now, if that's true, I don't know. I heard that this individual is working somewhere else, so that may or may not be true. If it's not true, okay, then the point's moot. But if it is, I don't know what the Department of Education says about that. So I would say that quite possibly that may be an act of unprofessional conduct when you're double dipping in essence. So, I mean, I would say I think that has to be reported also. We're not done with this. If somebody resigns under the cloud of investigation, that's bad. We try to put that person on home assignment where they're getting paid, and then they just went out and got another job. Unless they pay that money back, that from when they started the other job to this point now, I think that has to definitely be reported, because that's not, I find that very unsavory.
Is he getting paid? Has he received a paycheck since this has been going on? How long have we been doing this? 30 days? Has he received a paycheck in those 30 days from us?
Without disclosing too much personnel information, the employee will be compensated, has been compensated. I don't want to say too much more than that without
Okay.
disclosing some personnel information. But I'll put it this, the district has every intention of honoring our commitment to pay this employee.
He wasn't
who-
put on administrative leave without pay, is pretty
There-
much what I'm asking.
That is correct.
Okay.
So from my standpoint, you've called Department of the Attorney General and Bullhead City Police. I think the county prosecutor should know also. I think we said that at that meeting, and we could certainly amend it here in this motion. With that being said, I think that, well, I know for a fact over the years we've terminated people for less than this.
I agree.
I just think that if we go the termination route, and then all of a sudden they get 30 days, then he can, file this appeal, and the attorney has 30 days, and this one has 30 days, and 5 months later, after huge attorney bills, and after paying the person to be sitting at home when they're not, it just seems to me that it's better just accept this resignation, be done with this, and let the justice system, sort this out. If there's something there, okay. If it's not, all right, that's fine. But I think for us to keep paying and paying and paying, I just don't think that that's good for the district. Certainly not good for the taxpayers. And the Justice Department, I have faith in them that they can sort this out and get to the truth of the matter. What do you think, Carrie or Dennis?
Well, Dennis, are you there? Well, I was just going to say I would make a motion that we accept the resignation of Mr. Burgess effective immediately.
I would second that. I just want to amend it that the Department of Education or whoever the licensing body formally is known and knows about exactly what has happened, the statement of charges, and the taking of money during our contract while the person is gainfully employed. If that's true, that's what I heard. And they should know everything. That's all I'm saying. There's complete transparency on this. And then I would be okay with the resignation.
Okay, well then I amend my motion to reflect that.
Okay, well then I will second Carrie's motion. Any more discussion on this?
No.
Okay. All right. All in favor of Carrie's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. That settles that score. Now, as far as 2.2, that point is moot. I think we should move on right to 3.1, future meeting, September 9th. And I'd like to move for
I'm
adjournment.
just not going to be here that day.
Well,
I'm
we
sorry.
can, we can.
It's my
change.
daughter's birthday, so I'll be gone. I'll be gone the 7th, well, the 5th through the 14th. So I might be able to do it remote,
All right, well,
but I'm sure you'll be fine.
okay. All right, let's entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,